Coming up, we have MTS Popat interviewing Zool Suleman. He's a lawyer representing the rights of temporary workers.
I'm talking to Zool Suleman, who's the immigration lawyer who's representing some of the people who were arrested in the force for production called border security. Zool, thank you for talking to us.
Well, thank you for having me here today.
Now, I understand that the Canadian Border Service Agency has a contract with Force 4 for this show called Border Security. Can you tell us about that and the legal issues around that?
Certainly. Well, I represent several of the individuals who are arrested on the work site. And what I understand is that Canada Border Services Agency came to the site to ostensibly look for one person, ended up arresting several people. And there was a camera crew there from Force 4 Productions trying to shoot a show called Border Security.
Right.
And what has come out subsequent to that is that Vic Taves, the minister responsible for the Canada Border Services Agency, has personally approved the involvement of the CBSA in this production with Force 4.
Right. Now, what is this show about, Border Security?
Well, ostensibly, the show is about the work done by the Canada Border Services Agency officers at the land border, the airport, and within the borders of Canada in enforcing the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act.
Right.
The problem, of course, is that when you put together a television show, the subjects of the show end up becoming the focus.
Right.
And so I think the minister's perspective is that this is a way to give information about what CBSA does. Our perspective is that, in fact, the show is dehumanizing, demeaning, stigmatizing, and targeting the individuals who are on the show.
So the CBSA was going to go to this site where your clients work, and they invited Force 4 along to come and tape what they're going to do in terms of investigating so-called illegal workers.
Exactly. From my interviews with my clients, what I've been told is that there was a camera operator, a sound operator, and yet another mobile camera that was on the person of a CBSA officer.
Right.
They were shooting footage all along, and as my clients were getting arrested, and many of them were denied their right to counsel, by the way, all this footage was being taken. Eventually, my clients were brought to a detention facility in Vancouver, and what I'm informed by my clients is that CBSA gave them releases to sign so that their footage could be put on the television show. My clients are not English speaking, and the CBSA officers were not Spanish speaking, so there was this broken interpretation. My clients felt intimidated in many instances to sign these forms.
Yes.
And so now we're in the process of negotiating with Force 4 to have the footage taken back, as well as filing complaints with the Canada Border Services Agency about their conduct in this matter.
Now, what's some of the legal issues around this? This is very problematic, isn't it?
Well, there's several issues. I think the first issue is the right to privacy. How is it that the Canada Border Services Agency works hand in glove with a private production company to shoot this footage? And then the second issue is, what is the Minister of Public Security doing in using a private production as a means by which to propagandize the function of the Canada Border Services Agency? What is exactly going on there in that relationship? And the Minister has not been forthcoming about what Canada Border Services Agency is doing. He's been very, very reluctant to speak about that relationship, and only time will tell what the nature of that relationship is between a public body and a private production company.
This is very perplexing, isn't it, that the government agency would hire a private production company to do this kind of production?
Well, I'm not sure that they're hired, but what I gather is there are plenty of public resources going into it in terms of the time of the agency and the agency officers. But it's also, what about the actual individuals who are being taped? What about their privacy? And is a release sufficient? And why is it that of all of the areas that the minister could target, he feels that putting grainy shots of confused, humiliated people, many of them people of color who don't speak English, onto the screen is a way by which to show the work CBSA is doing?
Right. So what is your role in this? What are you hoping to do for your clients?
We've asked for an apology just an upfront apology from the minister and force for their conduct. I'm hoping they see the wisdom of what we're seeking and apologize and enter a dialogue about what they're doing publicly. We're also obviously pursuing a complaint with the Privacy Commissioner through the BC Civil Liberties Association for one of our clients. We're looking at complaints to the Canada Border Services Agency. So this is a story that's going to play out over the next few months, and we're hoping that the CBSA as a public agency is open to explaining its role and explaining why it's doing this, and also trying to do right by our clients and saying that their conduct is not acceptable.
Right. And how can our listeners get involved? Is there any website information?
They can certainly go to, there's a petition on change.org, and they can go to a website called cancelbordersecurity.ca, cancelbordersecurity.ca, sign a petition. They can get in touch with their Member of Parliament, with the Minister Taves, and express their views.
Right, great. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Comments to access@telus.net. We are not Shaw.
All right.